Now, isn't that werewolf a fun fly? Well, I've been really excited to share with you the last fly, and that's the parachute. We're going to construct that fly in a way you've never seen it done before. Now, I've got a hook I just set in the vise, and I'll start my thread base at the 1/3 position. And we'll continue to the back of the hook and back halfway. We'll trim off the waist end of the thread. I've already got moose body hair for the tail. And by the way, this is going to be an Adams parachute. And it'll be a Western style because I'm using moose for the tail and calf for the wing. And let's see what we've got. Here we go. And trim off the waist end of that. Okay, now I'll wrap forward to the 1/3 position. I got my nose tipped down just a little bit on that thing. Let me just readjust the hook a little bit. There it is. And we've got calf tail hair in my other stacker. And we'll attach the wing. Remember, I place the wing material on my side of the hook, a little bit long, and then I pull it to the length that I want it to be, and then let thread torque position the material back on the top of the hook shank. Now let's just reach in there and trim that out at a severe angle so we can blend the tail and the wing here together. All right, now let's show you another little trick that I didn't on the last fly, but this is going to be a posted fly. Sometimes the hair has a tendency to sneak down around under the bottom side of the hook. But if you'll start from back on the hook a ways, take a loop around the clump of hair, and then back to that same position, it's forced to stay there on top. Now let's go ahead and wrap a ball of thread in front to stand the winging material up. Now there's several ways that we can go about posting the parachute platform on the wing material. You can reach up above like most people do and wrap up the post, if you will, and that works for a lot of people. I did it for years myself, but over the years I've developed bursitis in my shoulders, and I find raising my arms like that is less than comfortable. So you can turn the whole vise over. Now I can wrap up the post by going down. That's one way to do it. But let's think about this for a minute. What about going up the post from the side by rotating the jaws? You can do that. But I think when you get right down to it, in this particular situation, I'm going to rotate the vise and wrap up the post by going down. Wrap up to the top of my post area, anchor, wrap the other way, anchor. There we go. And now we've got the platform on which we'll wrap our hackle. It's looking pretty good. Okay. Now I want to bring my centering gauge into the equation again. Why? Because I want to see, oh, well, I want my wing to be on axis. So I'll just move the jaws a little bit to place the wing on axis, move the centering gauge out of the way, and let's just go back. I think you're starting to get a little bit of a hint of what I'm going to do. But anyway, get our muskrat dubbing on the thread. I'll start by putting on some of the wax. And we'll just kind of dust that old muskrat dubbing into place. There's a few guard hairs in there, and that's just fine. I think it makes the fly a lot buggier. We'll just leave them there in place. Again, I'm going to use the the rotating feature of the vise to position and inspect as I wrap the dubbing. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about parachutes. Boy, for years, I just would get so frustrated tying parachutes because invariably, on a small-sized parachute, when I tie the hackle off at the eye and trim it, at least 1 out of 5 flies would end up with a slightly clogged eye, and you couldn't get the tippet through the eye. That was frustrating. So I just didn't tie the small parachutes until I discovered what we're going to share with you now. I want to tie my hackles on at that first turn in front of the wing. And I often see fly tiers who tie on their hackles. They strip all the dubbing off, tie on the hackle, and then put dubbing back on so they can finish the front part of the fly. Well, we don't need to do that. We're going to dub the fly and do the front part of the fly, the dubbing, as we tie on the feather. Now, most people would stop right there. I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to wrap back until I reach the post. Do a couple of turns both in front and back of the post to build up a bit of a thorax. Then I'm going to rotate the vise to wrap up to the top of the post. Bring the feathers towards me, away from you.